ଆପଣ ଶୁଣୁଛନ୍ତି 90.4 SOA Radio।
नमस्कार श्रोता बंधु मु आरजे शुभश्री आपण सुनुछंती 90.4 सोवा रेडियो। विश यू ऑल हैप्पी वुमेन्स डे। आज रही स्वतंत्र कार्यक्रम रे आम सहित जोड़ी हेछंती जणे खास अतिथि एवं तांको सहित कथा हबा पई आम सहित अछंती 90.4 सोवा रेडियो स्टेशन डायरेक्टर हनी पटनायक। तेमे चलंतु तांको आज रो कार्यक्रम को स्वागत करबा।
Welcome to SOA Radio 90.4. Today we are very happy to have with us Miss Soledad Herrero, Chief Field Services of UNICEF. Welcome, ma'am, to our radio, and wishing you a very happy International Women's Day today. I have heard a lot about you. I have read a lot about you, and you have had a very incredible journey in UNICEF. So I'd like to know, ma'am, how you started this journey in UNICEF.
First of all, thank you so much, Honey. It's such a pleasure to be celebrating International Women's Day with a woman like you, and also I had the opportunity to meet your wonderful team. UNICEF has been a dream space in which I've done most of my career. I did start it as an intern in Latin America, and it's taking me to Asia, to Africa. I've also had the opportunity to do a stint in headquarters, and I've really had the opportunity to work with boots on the ground, working in emergency field experiences. I had the opportunity, for example, to witness as a chief of field office the separation between Sudan and South Sudan, and a lot of, unfortunately, conflicts that unfolded in that context. I've had experiences in Horn Africa, also with droughts and other refugee crisis, but I've also had the opportunity to work in initiatives that relate to policies on the table, right?
Wow. Okay.
Working on legal reforms and advancing important initiatives. Today, for example, we're going to be in Orisha, launching the End of Child Marriage, a strategic action plan that we've been supporting to the government. So it's been an incredible journey of experiences of all the different realm, and you were asking me how things started. I think it really started with a commitment to make a small contribution in society, with a passion for social justice and children's rights that has been always a very special agenda for me.
So when you look back at your journey, how have the diverse experiences shaped your understanding of child protection and gender equality?
Maybe I can start by talking about me and my family and how I grew up. First of all, I grew up as the single girl with 3 brother siblings. And from the day one, I was very clear that I just wanted to be nothing else, nothing more, but exactly as an equal. And why that was possible? It was possible because there was a father and a mother that treat me exactly in the same way. And there was never a difference. My background and my family was very sporty, so I actually became part of the national gymnastic team.
Oh, wow.
And, we all pursue our sports and our dreams in an equal way. We were all adventurous. So that was part of my upbringing, but I think it was also possible because of the family environment in which I grew up. I think the second thing that really marked my trajectory, I have the opportunity as a family. We also live in a few countries. At an early age, we live in Iran, we live in Mexico, so I had a lot of international exposure. I think my family always had an interest for the world. I had an opportunity to understand that there were many different religions, there were many different cultural backgrounds, but there was much more that unites us than separate us. In Iran, unfortunately, we had to flee a war situation. And later down, when we were back, I'm from Spain, when we were back in Spain, my family were always supporting also some communities and even some Iranian families that had flee the country. So I also understood later in Mexico there was also an earthquake that turned around Mexico City. So I did understand that we were one community. I also understood that that people could live very different experiences based on calamities or based on the country where they are. But that does not mean that we should look at societies and countries in categories, right? That we all have one life, we have one opportunity, and that we all have to work towards make sure that there are opportunities for every member of society, and for that, protection issues are so important for our development agendas.
Yeah, very true. Basically, we are humans throughout the world. That is what unites us as one.
Yes,
I hope everybody understands that. So, what role do you think men play in the protection of children? How can they contribute to the protection of children? This is a very, very important aspect, what I feel.
So, honey, I really like your question for many reasons. I think first of all, I'm a mother of two boys, so I do understand that both women and men, we have a responsibility to protect, right? And because I work in this field for a long time, I think there's been an increasing realization that we will only acquire gender equality and full protection of children if both boys and girls, women and men are equally committed to this agenda. We know that society unfortunately has pushed women and men in boxes and has created stereotypes that has significantly affected girls and women, and that's why we have the need to celebrate an International Women's Day,
yes,
just to recognize that we are an equal member of society. But let's also not forget, it has also pushed boys and men as well. For example, we are also seeing that there is a bit of a crisis of manhood because they are, they've been put also in boxes where manhood has to be associated with values that that relate to maybe forthcoming and aggression and so on, and it has, for example, separated their capacity and expectation of society from being a nurturing member of society. And we do see that there is such a difference when parents come forward, right? When the parents come forward to take care of children. We also do recognize that we cannot keep diverging paths as women doing certain roles and men doing certain roles. So we need to bring elements of positive masculinity, to make sure that we do see the protection of children, the empowerment of women and girls as a common agenda, regardless of our gender identity.
It has to be a shared responsibility, like without any borderlines, he's a man or a woman. It's
Absolutely.
like a shared responsibility, and especially for protection of children, that is a must.
Absolutely.
So, we know something which is a menace. It's known as child marriage. Can't even think of it. So, and also I know one thing, that UNICEF Odisha has been working a lot about this particular issue. So why is this child marriage such a big issue? I mean, why?
So, honey, first of all, we need to maybe let's start with the positive side of the story. We need to celebrate that Odisha as well as India has halved the child marriage prevalence in the country, and certainly you were talking about Odisha efforts, which have been really commendable, right, in this agenda. And I was referring today that one of the things that are going to happen today in the state is the launch of the Ending Child Marriage Strategic Action Plan with the presence of the Chief Minister. So, there is a momentum to eradicate child marriage. Why is it there? Well, it's a very, very complex question, which really intertwines with patriarchal norms that unfortunately are still prevalent. Until we stop seeing girls as a liability, the likelihood of child marriage to continue is very high. So we need to really do important cultural shift to understand what women are capable of.
Yeah.
And that's why I love to be sitting with you today. As a seasoned professional, that's why I feel very privileged that as a woman I've also had all the opportunities to advance my dreams and my aspirations. And I think just by continue to have women that can demonstrate that we also have a say and we can be a productive members of society, we will make a significant difference. I think it's important to recognize that child marriage is not just a crime. It's not forbidden by the law. It just perpetuates poverty. Yeah, it just brings intergenerational cycles of deprivation. A woman marries early, the likelihood of teenage pregnancy, the likelihood of children that are undernourished or are born with complications is very high. The education attainment, it gets affected, and then the list goes on. So it's really in everybody's interest, and certainly in society interest, to eradicate child marriage.
Is it because education is not there? Poverty, of course, is the baseline of these kind of things, but also education matters. And they should be educated, the children should be educated also about their child rights and how they should tell no to certain things. We have had some champions, winners who have told no to child marriage. We have had them in the studio. They have told us amazing stories about their grit, their determination, how they have told no. They have escaped child marriage. Maybe some children are there who have escaped child marriage maybe 3 to 4 times in their life, and now they are grown up. Yeah, and they're studying, they are doing so good. So, as a human being and also as a woman, today in International Day, when we talk about accelerate action, what exactly does it mean?
So, indeed, we are today celebrating International Women's Day, in which the emphasis is on acceleration. And I think it's very appropriate because, when you look at the global estimates, there is an indication that it will take 5 generations still to reach gender parity. And, we all are parents, we have our children, we might be grandparents, we might be uncles and aunties. I don't think anybody wants to wait 5 generations down the line to see a woman and man on an equal footing. The efforts had to be from all different corners, because if we don't accelerate, it's only the society who ends up losing. You were talking about education. Of course, education is the door for empowerment, absolutely. And while there's been significant advances in girls' education, we also see that in upper secondary there is still a significant drop, and we see it globally. It's not just in India. Education is essential, but it's not, as in mathematical terms we say, it's a necessary condition but not sufficient. Yeah. So education is essential, but we also need to open the doors for adequate skilling of girls and adequate and meaningful participation. You were talking about gender stereotypes and the role of boys and men. We realized our experience working in UNICEF in India, but also globally, is that a lot of times there's a lot of important programs that tackle girls and women's empowerment, but then these girls go back to their family. And then you find the father, you find the older brothers, which block the door to their aspirations. And that's why it is important to work with boys, the men, the gatekeepers of the girls' future to make sure that we unlock their potential and we give them a pathway to fulfill their dreams and aspirations.
So we have a lot of youth in our university and also in the community as we work very closely with them. There are so many people who have got so much of aspiration. So today, what kind of a message would you want to give them?
So I think first of all, we are International Women's Day. So I will invite them, to reflect and keep nurturing an environment of equity and equality, to make sure that they see each other as peers and they see each other as as the young woman and young men, the importance of coming together to bring a better, more unifying and more rich society. The second thing is find your passion. Find your passion. Find an aspiration in life, and just make sure that nothing and nobody stops you.
Thank you so much for those beautiful words. Sole, it was so nice to have you in the studio, and thank you so much. Have a great life and keep doing the amazing things that you are doing. Thank you so much.
The pleasure was mine.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, honey.
आशा करुछि आपण समस्तଙ୍କୁ आजिर कार्यक्रमटी मनकु छुइथिबो एमती सबुबळे 90.4 सोआ रेडियो सुनु थांतु एवं सेमिति भल पाइबा बांटु थांतु। वर्तमान तो समय हेलानी आजिर कार्यक्रम को एठी रखिबार एवं ता सहित आजिर अतिथि को मध्य विदाय देबार। मु पुनी थरे आपण मानकु भेटिदेबी एही कार्यक्रम रे आउ एक नुआ अध्याय। सेथि पर्यंत सुनु थांतु 90.4 सोआ रेडियो। विदाय नै रहुछि मु आरजे शुभश्री। नमस्कार।
आपण सुनुछंती 90.4 सोआ रेडियो।